I'm sorry, there are no Wembley tickets left. But come inside and have a look and see what goes on in here. This is the hub of all the activity at Wigan, Central Park here, and certainly lots of inquiries every single day. But with me I've got the commercial manager, John Fillingham. John, since Wigan have been very successful, you've become quite involved, and there's a lot of sponsorship and a lot that you've got to do, isn't there?
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, Wigan is, in inverted commas, the biggest club in the Rugby League, and it's my job to make sure that the commercial activities actually mirror that image. And what we want to try and do is provide the major companies, certainly in the north of England, with facilities that they're willing to spend money in. And over the past 12 months, Wigan Rugby League Club has actually done that. We've got all the major northwest companies are involved here on a match-by-match basis, and that interest is continuing to grow. And by hopefully sometime next season, we will have achieved what we set out to do, and that was to involve the companies that are involved in the major soccer clubs in the northwest with Wigan Rugby League Club. And that was the aim, and that's what we're setting out to achieve.
And since Wigan, of course, won in the semi-final, there may well have been more interest created. Has there been a lot of interest since the semi-final at Main Road?
Well, yeah, Wembley always galvanises an interest, and certainly that's been the case at Wigan. It's pretty fairly accurate to say that most of next season's sponsorship has got a name alongside it, and that's due to the success of the club, and Wembley has had a major influence on that.
There's no way, in fact, that a club these days can exist at the top level without sponsorship, John, in your opinion, is there?
Well, I think any club that doesn't actually get involved in sponsorship at a very high level is losing an awful lot of money. And the key to sponsorship at any football club, whether it's rugby league or soccer, is actually to provide the facilities that the sponsor requires, rather than facilities that you think they might require. And that's the key to what we've done here.
And it's been a successful story so far?
Well, you better speak to the chairman about that one, but I'm delighted with it, yeah.
Wigan today sticking basically to the side that beat Featherstone on Wednesday, with the exception that Dean Bell goes on to the substitutes bench and Ellery Hanley comes into the centre with Andy Platt replacing him at loose forward. That means that Richard Russell and Martin Dermott retain their places at number 6 and number 9. On the Salford side, Australian Steve Gibson, a fine player there at full-back, and former Oral and England Rugby Union centre Peter Williams there at number 4, with Tex Evans, that flyer from Swinton, on the left wing. Their pack led by number 8 Steve Herbert, been around for a long time, and loose forward there Mick McTeague, the hard tackling number 13. Referee Jerry Kershaw, today's game, explaining his interpretation of the rule to the two captains, Ellery Hanley there and David Cairns, the Salford scrum half. And this is certainly a lengthy conversation. But Jerry, I think, handing over some little memento to the mascots. And in fact, today's mascot for Wigan is David Riding. So splendid there in his Wigan kit as he jogs slowly off the field. And we prepare for this very vital First Division game here at Central Park. Wigan, of course, still in with a chance of winning that championship. And Salford very keen to maintain a top 8 place to get into the playoffs. Joe Lydon sets the game in motion. Deep kick down there, which Keith Bentley just managed to get hold of. Bentley, of course, a very, very elusive player. Former Widnes and Great Britain international, linking with Tex Evans there. They're a good example of the cover from Sean Edwards and Ellery Hanley. So Salford having a great deal of difficulty in getting out of their own 22. The game, of course, at the Willows won by Salford. And there's one of the heroes of their success this season, Peter Williams, has had the captaincy taken off him. I think coach Kevin Ashcroft thinking that the responsibility perhaps a little bit too much for him, and it was affecting his game, so David Cairns has taken over. Aidan Shelford hitting it up there and breaking through Chris Whiteley's tackle. Now Edwards linking with Goodway, and the set move there involving Hanley and Ellery bursting through Steve Kerry's attempted tackle there. And Salford's defence well aligned on this side of the field then, and Wigan just a little bit short of numbers as we come to the last tackle. Edward is who will kick, despite the attentions of Steve Herbert, and that's a difficult kick for Gibson, and Potter's chasing it up. Great support play from the second row forward, along with Mark Preston. So a good deal of pressure here on Salford in these opening minutes. Teague, who's a hard-working loose forward for Salford, driving it up there. Good work from Joe Lydon, that we've said so many times, setting a great example to the team. Peter Williams, who probably can rival Lydon as a kicker, but who can rival Steve Hampson as a taker of the ball. Another fine example there. That's rather an over-aggressive tackle there by Ian Blease, and Jerry Kershaw having a word with him straight away. Steve Hampson, as you can see there, perfectly all right after the tackle. But nothing these days seems to ruffle this great performer of fullback. So with the wind slightly behind him, Joe Lydon has pushed that ball almost to the Salford 22 line. And we can go through their set play. Adrian Shelford linking with Richard Russell. Good support play from the number 6. As the run around is worked, and good way he tries to hit the gap. In fact, it's Andrew Platt. And now the chance to move it wide for Wigan. Hanley in the gap. Hanley going past Gibson. Will Hanley score? Yes, he has. Ellery Hanley has scored in the corner. A perfectly legitimate try. After that ball had been taken on the right-hand side, it was switched way over to the left, and there was Andy Goodway putting Ellery Hanley into the gap. And although Ellery stumbled just close to the line, he managed to evade Steve Gibson's tackle and just crawl over in the corner. So Steve Kerry, the former Preston Grasshoppers rugby union player, sets the game off again. Andrew Goodway almost stepping through that tackle of Chris Whiteley once more. And Joe Lydon well back there as Sean Edwards fed him. And that's another testing kick from Lydon. That's found Keith Bentley on that right wing. Bentley's elusive, but not elusive enough to get away from that Mark Preston tackle. Gibson, who's deceptively quick, managing to stretch those long legs of his. Good tackle there from Ian Potter. Steve Kerry running into Adrian Shelford and perhaps wishing he hadn't done. Peter Williams in for the kick, but finding Steve Hampson. The scrum, says the referee. There was some pressure in the tackle, certainly from Ian Blease. Steve Hampson not happy with the decision. But a chance here for Salford now, just outside the Wigan 22, a chance to set up a back move from the scrum. Cairns has got the opportunity. Gibson comes to make the extra man, but tries to go on his own, and that's rather fatal against the covering Andy Platt from loose forward. Herbert trying to offload that ball in the tackle. We're on fourth tackle now as Salford try and push through. Well, that's gone loose. Martin Herbert picks it up well. And again, another Rather over-aggressive tackle there. This time from Chris Whiteley, as the number 10 came in over the top. Martin Dermott being treated by Keith Mills, the physio, but hopefully he'll be okay. Just come back to fitness, of course, after a rather troublesome injury. And the referee, Jerry Kershaw, having a word with David Cairns, the Salford skipper there, explaining the situation. And that is a good warning. Ian Lucas, 2 out on the drive. Sean Edwards getting in there at first man, organising the play. Another good drive from Adrian Shelford, so the 2 prop forwards have torn a few holes there. There's a beautiful link from Edwards to Platt. Andy Platt stretching those big legs out. Good cover there, just stopping the loose forward from going over. That's a penalty. Salford hanging on there in the tackle, not allowing Andy Platt to play the ball. May well have been better if they'd been allowed to play it. But certainly, after that fine break, it was odds on that Wigan would well have got over. Joe Lydon lines the penalty up, strokes it well, but it looks as if that one's missed as well, so Joe somewhat out of sorts with his kicking at the moment. Peter Williams drops that one out, and that's gone straight into touch, so here's another chance for Wigan to add the 2 points, and this one a much more straightforward affair, directly in front of the posts on the 22-metre line. So Lydon, 2 paces, bangs that one. That's over. That's 6-0 to Wigan after just 10 minutes play. Steve Kerry kicks off once more. Steve Hampson safely underneath it, linking again with Tony Iro. Iro getting those big legs going again, almost breaking through that Salford defensive cover. Ian Bragger it was who came in and made the tackle. Bragger, of course, who lasted a very few moments in the first game at the Willows, was carried off injured. Now Edwards kicking now. Gibson across there as the bounce of the ball is a little bit awkward, but Gibson picks it up cleanly, and this is where he's dangerous, but not against the sort of Wigan defence as we see there. Well, Ian Gormley and Mark Moran, the 2 helmeted forwards for Salford. Both have played, of course, at hooker. Kerry getting into the action there, trying to get the forwards going. McTeague driving straight into Andy Goodway, though, and Ian Lucas. Well, Ian Bragger changing direction there, showing a little bit of pace, but good Wigan cover. So the ball just chipped into touch on that far side. And as you can see the flag, the wind just slightly in Wigan's favour. Although a perfect day here at Central Park, beautiful conditions. As Wigan win that first ball in the scrum and try and move the ball wide. Well, the big number 10 going backwards a little bit there as he's met by the 2 forwards from Wigan. Lydon testing Steve Gibson with the kick. Gibson running across field and almost getting outside Andy Platt. But Ian Potter comes in to finish the thing off. Mark Moran linking there with Tex Evans, who's come in from the left wing. And Ian Blease, who's got a fair pace for a big 15.5 stone forward, almost getting through then as Salford try and move the ball wide. And good linking between McTeague and Steve Herbert. The ball has gone down. The referee is not awarded it. Yes, he has indeed, now we can see. For a moment we thought that there was no decision going to be awarded, but it's going to be a scrum down. It was certainly a knock forward by Salford. Edwards jogging round the Salford side of the scrum, feeds, but it shoots out on the Salford side. So a pressure point here now, as Jerry Kershaw gives Ellery Hanley offside as an overlap for Salford if they move it quickly. But the chance for 2 points surely should be taken. Bentley decides not. The number 10 drives for the line. But good defence here, so 2 points given up as the kick goes through. A penalty now to Salford, and I think David Cairns is indicating that they're going to go for goal. Jerry Kershaw indicates to his touch judges to come around the back of the post, so it's going to be an attempt at a conversion by Steve Carey. Steve Carey lines it up, kicks it well, straight between the posts. So Salford back in the game with Wigan leading by 6-2. Well taken by Keith Bentley, that huge kick from Joe Lydon. So a couple of mistakes let Salford back into Wigan's half, and then that movement involving McTeague and Steve Herbert pushed them towards the line, and eventually having the penalty award. Williams back in position, but being hounded. He gets away from Lydon well. It's Gibson who kicks, but Gibson himself doing exactly what Williams did a moment ago, putting that ball straight into touch. Wigan now with the set move as Edwards feeds the scrum. It's rather a scrappy scrummage. The ball has come out on the far side, but there was an offence, an offside, and Jerry Kershaw has awarded the penalty to Wigan. So the time has elapsed. The set move has been called out. It's going to be a straight drive from Lucas, and Lucas has scored from there in the past and almost scores again. Desperately close Ian Lucas to that line. Platt takes the second drive, sucking the defensive forwards in. And if they'll allow you to play the ball quickly, then we've got the third play on. The switch with Hanley. Cairns in, but Hanley's so strong, he managed to get away from that tackle. But good pressure from Salford as they moved on quickly on Steve Hampson there. Offside, says Jerry Kershaw. So he's been quite keen on that advantage line. Ellery Hanley jogs across, but it looks as if we're going to call up Joe Lydon for the kick at goal. It is indeed. So a fairly straightforward kick and a good shot of the goal. That's gone straight between the posts. Wigan in the lead by 8 points to 2. We've had 80 minutes play. Jerry Kershaw pointing to the Salford line, keep behind the kicker as Steve Carey kicks the ball off. Beautiful sunshine here at Central Park, and Wigan in the lead with that very good try from Ellery Hanley and those goals from Joe Lydon. So 3 drives from Wigan, got the ball over the 22. And Edwards seeing the gap close to the play of the ball and trying to link, but a good tackle there from Mark Moran, bringing the Wigan scrum half down. Back to Lydon again. That siege gun kick really testing Gibson and Bentley there, and may well have gone too far. It has indeed. It's gone over the line on that far side of the field. So that's going to be a tap on the 22 line. That could be offside. In fact, the referee may well be playing advantage. Ellery Hanley goes safety first and just hangs on to the ball. Shelford hits it up. The crowd getting behind this Wigan side now. Steve Herbert wrestling around at the play of the ball there as Wigan work the run around, and good ways in the gap. A forward pass, says Jerry Kershaw. Again, good support play there. Andy Platt was with Andrew Goodway, and odds on there that if that pass had have been backwards, that could well have been another try for Wigan. David Cairns feeding the scrimmage, trying to get his backs in motion as Gibson works off the number 6. But Steve Hanson sticking very tightly to his opposite number. Andy Platt coming in a little bit aggressively there by the looks of it on his international colleague Peter Williams. The penalty given. Jerry Kershaw raises his hands, Ellery Hanley gives him a pat, but there the indication of the offence. Kerry, who strokes that ball quite gracefully, puts the ball into touch. No way forward for Chris Whiteley there as he hits that Wigan defensive line. Steve Herbert, good player in his time, Steve Herbert, perhaps a little bit over the top, but there, as you see, he's showing good ball skill, but Mark Moran not too thankful for that pass. Salford working the switch in play across the play of the ball. The second row 14 Blees hitting it, but now perhaps when they're at their best, Salford, they stretch sides and use the pace on the outside, but such an enigmatic side, they make a lot of mistakes. There's a great tackle from Ian Lucas there, good cover from the number 8. Certainly seemed to be yardage gain there by Ian Blees as he took the tap, but that is the last tackle, so that's going to be a handover. Ellery Hanley takes the ball, and Tony Arrow, as ever, available to come in and take the pressure off the forwards. Ian Potter hitting it close to the play of the ball there. Ian, of course, who was the man of the match on Wednesday night and had a fine game both in defence and attack. Joe Lydon sidesteps past Steve Herbert, then puts the kick down. The Wigan defensive line already up there. The testing kick for Bentley. He sets Gibson in motion there, and Gibson coming off that left foot, but that's a fine tackle from Mark Preston. Tex Evans getting into the act for Salford, the former Swinton wing. Salford trying to move the ball wide and getting into the act there. Steve Carey shrugs off Ellery Hanley's tackle. What a rare feat that is indeed. Bentley with a little chip ahead, and he's certainly got pace, and he picks that one up well. Links well with McTeague. Gibson trying to come through the middle, but a great tackle from Steve Hampson with Joe Lydon covering well. So good adventurous play there from Salford, and now they've got the overlap on this side. Williams tries to put Gibson in the clear, but that is a forward pass, and that was the covering tackler. The referee has indicated it was forward. It's the last tackle, so it's a handover. Andy Platt driving away from acting halfback. Again, another good 5 to 6 yards gain. Shelford hits it out, and the Salford defence really not moving up. Edwards tries the variation. Herbert obstructs, but play on, I think, says the referee. Sean Edwards appealing, but Herbert definitely obstructed Sean Edwards. He put that kick over the top. So a rather poor play of the ball, but Braga showing the elusiveness that influenced Salford in the signing of this rugby union player. Oh, that's a great take from Martin Dermott. A knock on, says the referee. He's consulted his touch judge on the far side. Martin Dermott, who dived forward for the ball. Touch judge in a very good position. Jerry Kershaw quite right in consulting the linesman. Salford moving it wide. Braga stepping inside, but only meeting Joe Lydon and Richard Russell. Good defence there from Andy Platt and Andrew Goodway. Well, no supporting players there for McTeague as he went forward, and eventually it's Moran who gave him the ball. Now Ian Gormley trying to hit the gap, and Salford trying to keep that ball alive. Cairns. Kerry puts that ball, I think that's probably going to go dead. In fact, Hampson picks it up behind his own line. Good defence from Steve Kerry. And the ball somehow or other has finished with Peter Williams' hands. So we're not sure what happened there, but certainly Salford in a good position now. As Blease tries to drive close to the line. Good Wigan defence hanging on here. So this is a test for the organisation of the Wigan team. Close to the play the ball, defence tight. Steve Herbert goes on the dummy run. Was that obstruction? Ian Gormley hits it. And still, on the last tackle, Cairns trying to get the team in motion. Evans comes across from that side. Braga steps inside. Braga will score. That's a try for Ian Braga and Salford. As the ball was switched across the field on the last tackle, Cairns getting the line in motion. It was Evans who came in from the left wing, and that link with centre Ian Braga as he came inside was good enough to force through the Wigan defence and pull Salford back into this game at 8-6. Joe Lydon kicks, and this time it's a flat bouncing ball, but bounces neatly into Steve Gibson's hand. Gibson, who's very elusive, the Australian who had a fine game in that Lancashire Cup final. McTeague dumped to the ground by Ian Potter. And again, good Wigan defence as Ian Potter works hard from acting halfback. So resorting to the kick, this time Peter Williams with that left foot. But again, only finding Steve Hampson. Tony Iro stretching, but well tackled there by David Cairns and Chris Whiteley. So a bit of atmosphere here now as we come to almost 30 minutes play. The set move as Hanley comes across field and dummies and steps inside. So Lydon eventually pushing the ball upfield. That's going to bounce dead by the looks of it, though. It has indeed. As Tex Evans picks it up and Salford ready to take the quick tap. Ambitious play there, Ian Braga, who tried to link with his wing, but Preston have got back well and makes the timely interception. So this good Sunday afternoon crowd here now getting behind their team. Bit of atmosphere. As Andy Goodway shows his strength and links the great ball to Tony Arrow. Tony Arrow links inside to Edwards. Edwards flings it back. That was great cover by Peter Williams. But perhaps a chance gone there. As Tony Arrow flings Tex Evans into touch. Jerry Kershaw not happy with the position of the scrimmage, telling Salford to make the mark on the 10. Sean Edwards listening, looking to see the set move. As he feeds, it was with Andy Platt. And a wide ball out there as Russell hits the gap and hands to Hanley. But Hanley's still in space. Still on here, Joe Lydon. Joe Lydon! Joe Lydon scoring under the post. Great piece of play from the international centre. The set move from the scrum as that ball was moved wide, and the strength of Ellery Hanley and superb timing in his distribution as Joe Lydon hit the gap, and Lydon burst through a bewildered Salford defence to score under the post. So a fairly simple affair as Joe Lydon converts his own try to put Wigan in the lead by 14 points to 6 after just 32 minutes play. Good play from Kerry and good linking with Braga. Ian Braga certainly got pace, one of the promising centres in the game. And Salford putting Wigan under pressure again. There's an overlap on this side as Gibson. As Gibson's going to go for that line. He's inches short, and it's the last tackle. Wigan regroup. That's bounced back, and Shelford's picked it up. And the big man drives it out. That perhaps a let off for Wigan there. Gibson stepped inside, and certainly they had many men over on this left-hand side. And as we come to the last couple of minutes of this first half, Andy Platt driving the ball out from the 22. And in the second half, it's going to be Salford who have that wind in their favour. As Edwards kicks over the top, and this time he finds the gap and kicks it ahead. But Williams it is who finishes up with it. So a finely judged kick from Sean Edwards, but the bounce just not quite right for him. And Salford recover. Tex Evans lacking a bit of concentration there perhaps, and rather frustrated with himself. Gary Kershaw, a little black sandwich there between the two front rows. Andy Platt again picks the ball up, but referee Jerry Kershaw saying that he was offside and he's not allowed to go for the ball. So the free kick to Salford. And again, Salford coming back. And they play a particular brand of rugby which can split most defences on occasion. And there's one man, Steve Gibson, who can. But no way past Andy Platt that time. Chris Whiteley getting a reception committee of Ian Lucas and Adrian Shelford. Well, there goes the half-time hooter. Wigan perhaps just a little tired. They've had a very hectic programme, and towards the end of each half is the telling time. But they go into the lead at half-time by 14 points to 6. Steve Kerry raises the left arm with that right foot. Tests Steve Hampson and the sun. There's certainly a lot of sun here this afternoon at Central Park, and it's certainly a happy looking Wigan outfit. They're in the lead by 14 points to 6. But this half Salford have got what wind there is behind them. Oh, Shelford bursting through. That's been played on, and Edwards has recovered well. So that's back to 1. Ian Potter finds the gap. Another valuable 10 yards gain there from the second row forward. Andy Platt running wide. He loves to run in those open spaces and hit that defensive line. Now the switch with Tony Ira, but Lucas has to gather from the fumble. Adrian Shelford, who linked well last time, but that ball's been knocked down, and McTeague, the loose forward, covering for Salford. Shelford was vainly trying to get some support. In the end, the ball went down, and Salford rather thankful for it. Two tackles on the run from Joe Lydon again. Salford move it wide. Kerry electrifying there. But the hole disappeared, and Ian Potter filled it very well indeed. Peter Williams, who we've seen little of in terms of running, has been doing quite a lot of kicking for Salford, but no real running chances. Salford running it wide, and Blease hitting the gap, looking for support. He's got Bragger. Bragger looks as if he's going to score. He will indeed. That's a fine try from the centre. His second try of the game. It was that beautiful long ball from Steve Kerry which hit Ian Blease, and Blease punching through that Whitton defensive line, and their linking was Ian Bragger, the centre, and Bragger had the pace to get over. The two substitutes coming onto the field there. Dean Bell, who's gone into the centre, and Dennis Betts, who's come onto the field. A knock on there. So a mistake by Salford have put Wigan in the position they want to be. Well, that try was converted by Steve Kerry, so that's 14 points to 12 as Wigan win this ball in the scrum. Hanley with the runaround. But Ian Bragger, who's the try-scoring hero for Salford, showing good defence as well. Salford punching through and linking with Andy Goodway. Goodway just a yard short of that touchline, but still Wigan in possession. Potter driving forward, just 5 metres short now of the Salford line. Can Wigan pierce this Salford defence as Wigan move it wide with Dennis Betts in space? Hampson gets it out to Tony Arrow. Tony Arrow's going. Tony Arrow pumping those big legs forward. Ellery Hanley now going and kicking through. Is that obstruction? The ball's gone down. Jerry Kershaw looking very closely at the situation. As Ellery Hanley kicked through there, a desperate Salford cover. And Wigan want to keep Salford here close to the line. Lucas hard in with the tackle. Steve Gibson, who is so elusive, but not this time, as Dennis Betts and Adrian Shelford fire into the tackle. Well, Peter Williams there at the back behind the play, the ball in for the kick with that left foot. He's certainly a powerful kicker, and that's a precision kick. Testing Steve Hampson and Mark Preston. Now Preston in space. But no way forward for the young winger. So Hampson getting out of those first two tackles and getting up to play the ball quickly. Dean Bell gets into the action and comes off that right foot. Dean Bell, of course, scorer of that memorable try on Wednesday night. Great ball to Dennis Betts from under a good way, but Salford defence coming in from the side. So now on the last tackle, Joe Lydon with the drop kick. That's another huge kick, but wide of the post. The ball lost, it's a penalty, says Jerry Kershaw. The indication there that the ball was wrestled out of the Salford player's hand after the tackle had been made by Dennis Betts. As you can hear, the crowd not happy about the decision. So Salford set up their play as McTeague takes that drive from David Cairns. Now the dummy run around with Chris Whiteley going forward and offloading. And there's gap there for Peter Williams, but it's filled in very quickly as Andy Goodway and Dean Bell converge on the centre. The long ball out there and the overlap, and Bragger's in space again. So that ball's gone down. A good cover from Sean Edwards. A good link there, but Cairns hasn't found his man. Gibson trying to step back inside, and Gibson has got pace and strength, but still offloading. Salford keeping this ball alive. Back to one, says Jerry Kershaw. Wigan being tested to the full now. Bentley tries to get into the action. And Steve Herbert, who kicks ahead, and Ian Potter gets back there well. Pouncing on the loose ball. But that was spelt danger there as Steve Carey came through. Dennis Betts, who really should be quite fresh, he's not had much rugby of late. And put onto the team by Graham Lowe. As Adrian Shelford offloads to Preston. Preston in full flight, but there is the touch. Mark unable to get past the covering defence there. As David Cairns waits to feed the scrummage, Moran has got his head up in the air. Jerry Kershaw saying that Wigan are not letting the Salford hooker in on request. Peter Williams with that left foot putting the ball into touch. So Williams, the natural left footer, is going to kick on the right hand side of the field, and Kerry, the natural right footer, will kick to the left hand touchline. David Cairns calls the tune out. The substitution on the Salford side. So they've introduced Mick Worrell. That could spell quite a danger here, because Worrell has got certainly some pace and strength, as he showed there. The set move as Ian Gormley hits the gap and stays on his feet. So the Wigan crowd are a little bit apprehensive now as Salford build up the pressure. Cairns looking for Herbert, but Martin Dermott equal to the tackle there. Teague stopped the flow, but eventually offload, and it's Worrell trying to find his way past Dennis Betts in any good way, but a fine tackle from Dennis Betts. Kerry, the drop goal, but no way was that going over. Steve Hampson's head shoots back in that tackle for Ian Blease. That certainly looked aggressive at the play of the ball. But Jerry Kershaw not having anything of it. As Ian Lucas loses his hat. Aidan Shelford, who's been full of run in this game, and he's offloaded several times, beautifully precision passes, and that was pulled out, says the touch judge on the far side. Referee Jerry Kershaw points towards the Wigan team. That's a penalty, and the Wigan crowd quite thankful for that decision. Joe Lydon finds touch almost in the Salford half as Lucas drives over the halfway line. The long ball from Martin Dermott, and Shelford linking with Liam Potter once again. Ellery trying to burst through and almost getting through there. Mick Worrell had to cover desperately as the centre burst through. Wigan again working the move. And two dummies from Edwards as Iro tries to step inside, but good defence from Williams and from Tex Evans on that far side. So now we have the last tackle. And now Edwards with the kick, that's high. Handley's going underneath it. Dennis Betts is up there. But it's Salford who get it in the form of the diminutive David Cairns. See Gibson drifting across there, but no way past a good resolute Wigan defence. And there's Gibson bursting through now, and Edwards turning to chase. Lydon has the pace to catch him. Good tackle from the centre, but Salford in a good position now as they move the ball wide. The overlap was there, but Ian Blease succumbing to Dennis Betts' tackle. Kerry with the kick. That may well have gone too far. It has indeed. So Larry Hanley tackle there, and Wigan moving it again, two out to Shelford, who's really eager for work, and he's linked with Andy Goodway. Great Wigan support play, but Salford working hard in defence, getting back in numbers. Overlap on that side, Hampson in the line. Evans spotting it very well though, coming in from that wing. Well, Cantoniara bursts through, but he doesn't, but he links well with Edwards. And there's space for Hanley. McTeague covering across well. Again, the big man trying to burst through that Salford defence. But now the last tackle. Edwards using the hands as Hanley kicks through. That's gone into touch. Ellery Hanley there prostrate after that kick through. As Keith Mills gets there, it's Hanley who jogs to his feet, so perhaps not a great deal wrong with our Wigan captain. And certainly Steve Kerry can't get past him. But Gibson, who's again looked dangerous, coming from the back in this Salford side. A gangly, tall Australian fullback. Good interplay, Potter charging it down. That could be back to one. It is indeed. The charge down was deliberate from Ian Potter as Worrell steps out of Dermot's tackle. So Salford wanting to move that ball and really stretch this Wigan defence. But this time it's Williams who kicked. Steve Hampson and Tony Iro together there. And Tony getting past David Cairns. And offloading well to Andy Goodway. Goodway looking for the gap. Taking the ball in himself. Good support play from the second row forward. As the half-backs move it wide. Dennis Betts in space. Almost through the gap. A good 50 yards gained by Wigan now as they move it wide once more. Shelford playing paddle ball with it and bouncing off these Salford defenders. Hanley straightens up. So the Wigan crowd appreciating the play of their Wigan heroes. Goodway hitting it close. Gibson makes a despairing tackle though. So on the last one now, Edwards is going to put the chip up. That's a beautiful kick. Hampson jumps high and takes. He's pressed in his space. He picks it up, flings it inside. But the touch judge flag is up. The ball has gone into touch. Steve Hampson jumping miles above everybody else. People a good 4 or 5 inches taller than him. The referee has given the scrum. And Cairns it is who's got a feed. Kerry's linked on the short side and Kerry's moving down this right-hand side. Kerry showing great pace, but Preston equal to it. A fine piece of play from the Salford 6 as Wigan desperate to get back into defensive position. Williams takes Evan inside. Dean Bell covers well. The dummy from Williams, but Lydon is back there. Andy and Potter, but Salford in with a great chance. So will the telling number of games that Wigan have had to play, will it actually tell in this game as they move on the overlap there? Williams goes to the back, brings Evans inside. Evans perhaps wrong to come inside, and Edwards has recovered. So Evans taking the wrong option there. The overlap was on that left-hand side. Sean Edwards recovered, and Wigan will be glad of that slight relief there as Salford put a great deal of pressure with that beautiful break from Steve Kerry. But here's a fellow who's been playing hard all game and running at the opposing defences. Adrian Shelford. Dermot getting rid of that ball well. Edwards in space. Good linking here from Wigan. The high tackle from Tex Evans brings the Wigan skipper to the earth. Dennis Betts hits Steve Carey and rolls out of the tackle. So the game swinging from end to end now. On the last tackle, Edwards in position. Ellery Hanley with the kick. That bounces into touch. Evans taking that ball from the scrum. As Salford win the ball again. Gibson trying to get in the line, but can't get away from Dean Bell, and Joe Lynam finishes it off. A mix-up there between Braga and Kerry, but Bentley recovers well. So Wigan with just 20 minutes left for play now will seriously want to keep Salford back. Preston covers well there and tries to find some space. The Wigan moving it wide. Ellery Hanley in position again and selling the dummy and going through it. Oh, great play from Ellery. The kick over to Edwards, but Gibson has got back well. Powerful play from Ellery Hanley. What a great burst down that right wing. And the kick ahead just failing, but that's been picked up by Dennis Betts. The referee has said knock on. Jerry Kershaw comes across and indicates the scrummage. It will be Wigan's ball. But was that a chance lost? It's been won and Lynam drifts across. Hanley takes that ball well. Wigan piling on the pressure now. Dean Bell sidestepping through. Betts and Edwards work the run around as Goodway hits the gap. And offloads to Shelford. This is going to be a try for Adrian Shelford. It was that beautiful run around between Dennis Betts and Sean Edwards. Andy Goodway hit the gap and he showed the strength to stay on his feet and link with the supporting Adrian Shelford, who's had a powerful game today. But drive over under the post. So comparatively simple kick for Joe Lynam, it is indeed. For Wigan stretch their lead now to 20 points to 12. Steve Carey puts the ball deep. Dean Bell picks up well. And Dean Bell showing his strength as he bounces off that tackle and sets himself in motion again. And Goodway doing exactly the same. Edwards trying to find a gap, and he has done. Hanley linking. And sidestepping. Beautiful support play from Dennis Betts. And still not tackled. Betts could score. Oh, so close. Wigan now with a chance to score and put it beyond doubt. As that pass was rather misdirected from Martin Dermot. And Tony Ira has to come backwards to pick it up. Shelford drifting across and loading a great ball to Joe Lynam. Lydon going for that gap. It's closed by frantic Salford defence. On the last tackle, Lydon unable to play the ball. Hampson puts the chip in for himself, goes for it. That's gone dead. Drop out under the post, and Hampson's down after that kick. Let's hope that's not too serious as Keith Mills races onto the field. Henry Hanley takes the drop out and runs straight at the Salford defence. Bell getting into the action and showing that strength and tenacity as he bounces off that first tackle. Wigan building it up again. There's the run around once more. A good way hitting the gap and offloading to Betts. So Salford now having to withstand the pressure from this Wigan side as they go through the repertoire and build it up. But Shelford dummying and going on his own. The try scorer is going and linking with Betts. Betts has scored. A try for Dennis Betts. The overlap seemed to be on the right-hand side. It went to the big man Adrian Shelford. He changed the direction and hit those Salford forwards, almost bursting through himself to score, but just at the right time got a great ball out to Dennis Betts, and Dennis goes over to score on the left-hand side. Joe Lydon then going into the trainer's bench. He's been substituted by Richard Russell, so Graham Lowe working the changes with 11 minutes left for play here. Wigan in the lead by 24 points to 12. So the crowd rather quiet after the burst of activity and action that we've had. And that's play on, back to one, says Jerry Kershaw, as Andy Goodway was having the ball wrestled from his grasp. And here's that man again, Shelford. What a fine game the number 10's had today. There's another man who's hit the defence on many occasions. It's gone forward that time though. Jerry Kershaw indicating the infringement. And again another substitution on the Wigan side. Ian Lucas going off there and Andy Platt coming on the field. Well, certainly the coach sharing out the responsibility and the physical demands of this very aggressive game. McTeague trying to get through Richard Russell and Dennis Betts. Not a good ball, and that under the pressure of Ian Potter's tackle, that's meant that Wigan have gained possession. And a chance for Tony Iro. Had no real clear-cut chances on the wing, but he's had to come in midfield on a lot of occasions. So with less than 9 minutes left for play here. Shelford getting that ball out well. Betts taking it superbly and linking, but the ball going down. Is that play on? No, Jerry Kershaw says too many knock-ons. First one by Wigan, so it's going to be a Salford feed in the scrimmage. Cairns wins and Kerry linking, sidestepping towards the pack though, but linking again with Steve Gibson. The run around between Cairns and Ian Blease, but still no gap out there as Worrell, who's had little to do since he came on the field, puts a sloppy ball out there to Steve Kerry. The knock on, and it's Wigan feed in the scrum. Well won ball there in the scrummage. Hanley with no space to go, but he managed to push off Peter Williams. And offloading beautifully to Dean Bell. Vic Worrell gets back well to tackle the New Zealand centre. And Pat hits it up. And gets out of those two tackles and third, and keeps crawling on those knees to make the extra yardage. Dermott sees the dummy, and the dummy kick as he links with Platt. Desperate straits here for Salford. Edwards gets in the act, looking for the supporting players, but no way forward. The play stood still. The ball's gone down, and Salford have regained, so a little bit of loose play there from Wigan. Good tackle from Dennis Betts, covering the ball, not allowing Ian Blease to make the ball available. Cairns, who's prompted all afternoon but not really been able to put his forwards through gas, mainly because that really tight Wigan defence has moved up together. Williams tries the variation and kicks over the top. That's a great bounce for the centre and a great dummy. But he's linked with Steve Kerry. Kerry may well score. He does indeed. A try for Steve Kerry and Salford. It was Peter Williams who changed the tactic, kicked over the top. The ball bounced sweetly for him, and despite a desperate tackle from Steve Hampson, he managed to get the ball to the supporting Steve Kerry. And Kerry went over to the left-hand side of the post. So Kerry with the fairly simple kick, and this, if successful, which it is, puts Salford just 6 points behind Wigan with 5 minutes left for play. So Steve Hampson taking over the kicking role from the substituted Joe Lydon. Kicks that ball and finds the Salford second row forward, Ian Gormley. In fact, it's Ian Blease without the scrum cap. So can Wigan hang on, or will Salford get that extra 6 points as Kerry again changes the tactics, but this time straight to Steve Hampson despite the sun. And the side step from Hampson goes past Kerry. Hampson in space. Great run from the Wigan fullback. Russell sidestepping his way through close to the play of the ball. Wigan will want to keep this possession, not lose the ball in the 6 tackles, as Bell shows his strength again as he rolls off one tackle and keeps the legs pumping. Played inside ball to Andy Platt. Just can't quite get that ball away. But Wigan just 10 yards short now as Edwards tries to put Hanley through, but no gap there for the big man, and it's been lost in fact as he tried to offload to Richard Russell. So Salford back in possession, but inside their own 22. And moving the ball wide, it's perhaps Salford's last chance as Bragger takes that ball running straight. He tries to offload out there, but that's gone backwards to Bentley. Bentley keeping the ball alive, and Gibson again showing those supporting qualities. Salford testing Wigan now with the ball being kept alive. No way forward for Ian Bragger through Martin Dermott's fine tackle. the kick from Peter Williams. That's a long, searching kick. But Tony Arrow has got back well there, just on his own goal line, and now sets those big legs in motion. A good tackle there from David Cairns. As Ian Potter takes the pressure off the Wigan side with just 2 minutes left for play here. Dean Bell again driving forward. Edwards changes the direction and Platt hits the gap well and links with Sean Edwards. Sean Edwards has got Ellery Hanley inside him. Hanley's got Russell. Russell's got Preston. Preston is going to score. Preston has scored for Wigan to make the game safe. Beautiful interplay from Wigan there as Edwards sent Ellery Hanley away. Hanley linked with Richard Russell, and despite Steve Gibson's desperate attempt at tackling all three of them, it was Russell who put Mark Preston over, crawling on his hands and knees for the last yard or so. Well, Steve Kerry will kick off as we enter injury time, with Wigan leading 28 points to 18. Dennis Betts plays the ball back. And Potter gets out of a tackle. Links there to Andy Platt. That ball's not been knocked forward though, and is still alive. Edwards sidestepping. This could be a try for Hanley if he can get out of Gibson. Gibson's coming desperately, but Hanley shrugs him off, and Hanley scores the cheekiest of tries. The hooter had gone earlier though, and Jerry Kershaw indicating that the game is over. The two sides troop off the field. It's been a marvellous victory for Wigan. 28 points to 18, and still hopes of lifting the championship. Another victory for Wigan then against Salford, another 2 points towards the championship. And with me after the game I've got Jeff Hurst, the assistant coach and formerly commentator for CP Productions. Jeff, it was a very hard game again, and certainly Wigan have been put through the mangle at the moment with all these games, but they seem to be just pulling through.
That's right. I don't really think, Alan, it's been different all season. All these sides, when they play Wigan, seem to raise the game, and it's their cup final. So playing Salford here today, we expected the type of game that we got. We knew exactly how they would play the game, and they did in fact play it that way. We, like you say, we stuck at the task, continued to struggle, and played the type of football that we thought would result in a win, and in actual fact it did result in a win, and that's in fact all we wanted from today's game.
The times in the game, of course, when Salford got very close, but you just seem to have enough energy to drive away again and score, and it seems to have been like that for the last few matches, that they've just about had enough energy and enough professionalism, if you like, to get away from the opposition.
Yeah, that is the word to use, professionalism, because these players have played, as you well know, a lot of rugby this season. Now we're playing 2 games in a week, and it's not easy for them. We have to lay off the training, as you well know. And yeah, we're going on the field determined to win because of the state of the league at present, and like you say, perhaps we're playing within ourselves, but we'll give all credit to the players. Whenever the opposition make a break, we always seem to have that cover defence that gets across, especially against, I thought, today and in our last game, it was the cover defence that saved us on a few occasions. But that's the way we're playing the game. We know what we've got to do, and being fair to the players, they're going out and they're doing it.
I know it's a team game, but today one man really stood out. He was man of the match and certainly seemed to be full of beans and full of life, and that was Adrian Shelford. Certainly had a very powerful game for a big man.
That's right, yeah. I would have thought one of Adrian's best games since he came here. As well as taking the opposition on like that, he always seemed to have the ball available. Perhaps at times he lacked the support that he deserved, but then that seemed to come in the second half, didn't it? But as we've said before, these players are tired. I mean, they've been working hard, and I think it's only natural that on occasions the backup suffers because, you know, you haven't got that extra yard of pace and you haven't got that extra energy. But in the second half, they did seem to follow him. And in fact, I can remember Andy Goodway taking a ball off him down in this bottom corner, and he put it on to, I can't remember who it was actually, passed it on to another Wigan player who scored a try off it. But a tremendous game by Adrian, yeah.
And 2 games left in the Championship. There's the game on Wednesday against St Helens, and then, of course, the final clincher against Widnes a week today.
Yeah, well, we can only take one game at a time. I mean, we've got to beat St Helens on Wednesday before we start thinking about the Widnes game, because if we lose and Widnes win, then it's not all on the last game. So all we are concentrating is the game against St Helens on Wednesday night, which is always a good game anyway, and we know the type of football St Helens play. They'll throw the ball about, and we're going to have energy, Alan, to stop that type of football on Wednesday night. When we win that game, then we can start thinking about the clash with Widnes, and let's hope it's all on that game.
The mood is good, though, in the changing room, Jeff. You've had a lot of good wins on the trot now, and you think you're in the mood to take St Helens on Wednesday?
Oh, without a shadow of doubt. The players are in good spirits. We don't tell them they're tired. They've got to come down here and do the job. That's what they get paid for. The spirit's very, very good indeed. They're all wanting to play. They're all fighting for a place in the side. Of course, the reason for that is obvious. And we're looking forward to St Helens. I think we will beat St Helens, and as I say, that's the game we're concentrating on. And of course, then we've got the Widnes game after that.
Well, thanks very much, Jeff Hurst. And certainly, as Jeff said, the mood in the camp very good at the moment. But there's 2 games left in the Championship, and the one that we're going to be concentrating on is, of course, that game against St Helens on Wednesday here at Central Park. Promises to be a great encounter, as all the St Helens games are. We look forward to seeing you at that game. Although there are no tickets left, come with CP Productions to Wembley.